political parties to be in the ambit of RTI. Now, to discuss this very, very important, relevant topic, because as you know that 5 states are undergoing for the election from tomorrow. They are starting the first phase, and 24 again the general elections for the parliament is also coming. Before that also some state elections are there. Until unless these reforms will not be there, we will see what we are seeing every day, the vulgarity of money expenses and the criminalization of the elections. To discuss this very, very important topic, we have a very learned, experienced, and those who are having authority on this particular topic, panelists are with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and he is Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra. Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra is the former Allahabad High Court judge. He is the chairman of Review Committee, which looks after prevention of unauthorized activities. He joined services as civil judge. He worked as district judge at Bijnor and Agra. He also worked as judicial member, State Administrative Tribunal. Welcome, Justice Mehrotra, on our show. Justice Mehrotra, as you know, today the condition of the country, and although you have retired recently from your post, but still you are being the chairman of Review Committee. We would like to know your views on this very, very important topic, that is electoral reforms in India. Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra, please.
Good morning to all of you. Thank you so much for permitting me.
Justice Mehrotra, just excuse me. Your head is going bit up, so just so that, yes, please. Now it is perfect.
बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद आप लोगों का कि आप लोगों ने इसमें हमको परमिट किया.
Yes,
और ये टॉपिक एक ऐसा टॉपिक है जिसपे मुझे लगता है कि शायद रूलिंग पार्टी और अपोजिशन पार्टी दोनों ही कहीं ना कहीं तैयार होंगी कि रिफॉर्म किया जाए. आपने देखा कि किसी एक ओर से कन्विंसिंग, या हम उसको कहेंगे कि पिच जैसे क्रिकेट की भाषा में पिच कहते हैं, तैयार किया जा रहा है कम्युनलिज्म को लेके, रिलीजन को लेके. वहीं दूसरी ओर पिच बनाया जा रहा है कास्टिज्म को लेके. दोनों तरफ से जितनी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज हैं, या तो रिलीजन बेस्ड हैं या कास्ट बेस्ड हैं, और ये दोनों ही चीजें कंट्री के डेवलपमेंट में बहुत खतरनाक है. तो पहला तो मैं ये जरूर एक्सपेक्ट करूंगा कि इलेक्शन कमीशन को इन चीजों के बियॉन्ड भी सोचने का मौका देना चाहिए, और पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को इस पे इलेक्शन कमीशन को चेक एंड बैलेंस रखना चाहिए. जिस तरह का हम इट विल नॉट बी बेटर फॉर अस टू से समथिंग फॉर समवन, लेकिन जिस तरह का माहौल हम आज के इलेक्शन में देख रहे हैं, कभी कभी लगता है कि हैट्रेड बहुत ज्यादा ना बढ़ जाए, चाहे कास्ट के बेस पे हो या रिलीजन के बेस पे हो. सेकंड थिंग इज, जैसा कि आपने कहा अभी कि क्रिमिनलाइजेशन हो रहा है पॉलिटिक्स का, या इसको हम कह सकते हैं पॉलिटिसाइजेशन हो रहा है क्रिमिनल्स का. दोनों में काफी समानता है. और शुरू में हम लोगों ने देखा कि क्रिमिनल्स की मदद लेके लोग असेंबली और पार्लियामेंट में पहुंचे, और बाद में क्रिमिनल्स ने पहुंचना शुरू कर दिया. ये बड़ा शेमफुल लगता है कि हम क्रिमिनल्स के बनाए हुए रूल्स और लॉ को ओबे करने के लिए जजेस सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक बैठे हुए हैं. पार्लियामेंट में, असेंबलीज में अब किसी से छुपा नहीं है. आप लोगों ने देखा, कुर्सियां भी चली, मारपीट भी हुई, और मैक्सिमम असेंबलीज में आज स्थिति ये है कि कुर्सियों से लोग डरते हैं कि ऐसा ना हो कि अंदर हथियार नहीं दे सकते हैं, तो लोग कुर्सियों से ही एक दूसरे को मारना शुरू कर दें. तो ये क्रिमिनलाइजेशन ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स पूरी तरह से हो चुका है. मनी पावर के बारे में जैसा आपने कहा, ये सच है कि आज हम और आप कोई चुनाव लड़ने के बारे में सोच ही नहीं सकते हैं. इतना मनी पावर आपने, ये भले ये इलेक्शन कमीशन ने एक मैक्सिमम लिमिट तय कर दी कि इससे ज्यादा पैसा खर्च नहीं कर सकते हैं, लेकिन रूलिंग पार्टी जो भी हुई, किसी पर्टिकुलर पार्टी की बात मैं नहीं कर रहा हूं, लेकिन रूलिंग पार्टी जो भी हुई 67 से लेके कम से कम आज तक, उसने हमेशा इलेक्शन कमीशन को अपने हिसाब से यूज किया। तो ये कहना, और ये सच है कि क्या आज तक कभी इलेक्शन नॉर्म्स को वायलेट करने के लिए किसी की सजा हुई है आज तक कभी किसी की? चाहे कुछ कीजिए आप, मैक्सिमम वार्निंग हो जाएगी, 1-2 दिन के लिए आपको डिबार कर देंगे। लेकिन ये सच है कि 67 से लेके आज तक रूलिंग पार्टी का इन्फ्लुएंस हमेशा इलेक्शन कमीशन पर रहा है, और इलेक्शन कमीशन की ऑटोनॉमी कैसे बचाई जाए, कैसे उसको एक टीएन शेषन दोबारा लाए जाए, ये बहुत बड़ा प्रश्न है। और जब तक टीएन शेषन टाइप आदमी या इलेक्शन कमीशन को पूरी तरह से हम इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं कर देंगे, तब तक ये रिफॉर्म्स भले ही ऑन पेपर हम ले आए, हमें शक है कि इसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ग्राउंड पे हो पाएगा। इसके अलावा अब एक नया जो ट्रेंड शुरू हुआ है, आपने देखा कि उसमें इंडिपेंडेंट कैंडिडेट्स को खड़ा करके हम इलेक्शन को इन्फ्लुएंस करने की कोशिश करते हैं किसी पर्टिकुलर रिलीजन के या कास्ट के। इंडिपेंडेंट कैंडिडेट्स के लिए मुझे लगता है कि उनकी जमानत राशि काफी बढ़ा देनी चाहिए, क्योंकि ये गलत
आपने you have put yourself on mute. Please unmute, Justice.
कमीशन को इस बारे में देखना पड़ेगा कि इंडिपेंडेंट कैंडिडेट्स का कैसे उसमें मिनिमम इन्वॉल्वमेंट किया जाए, कैसे उसमें इंडिपेंडेंट कैंडिडेट्स की संख्या को कैसे कम किया जाए। एक आजकल एक और चीज आप देख रहे होंगे जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट और बड़ी पेनफुल है हम लोगों के लिए। आपने देखा होगा कि इनकम टैक्स पेयर्स की संख्या बहुत कम है, और जो ईमानदारी से टैक्स दे रहे हैं उनको टैक्स का आप ये अनुमान लगा सकते हैं कि उनको अंदर से जरूर एक फीलिंग होती है कि हमारे टैक्स का पैसा कंट्री के डेवलपमेंट के लिए लगे। खास तौर से जो सर्विस में लोग हैं, उनको तो लगता है कि जितनी सैलरी पा रहे हैं उसमें से 30% तो टैक्स कट ही जा रहा है स्लैब में आने के बाद। और आप हर पार्टी फ्री वी के चक्कर में कि वोट कैसे मिले, ऐसा लगता है जैसे कि हम राजा हों और पैसा लुटा रहे हों कि आप अगर हमको जिता देंगे तो हम सब कुछ, आपको मकान भी फ्री देंगे, आपको राशन फ्री देंगे, आपको पढ़ाई फ्री कर देंगे, स्कूटी देंगे, लैपटॉप देंगे। ये लगता है कि हमारे पैसे को इस तरह से लुटाने का आपको अधिकार क्या है, हमें आज तक समझ में नहीं आ रहा ये। और दूसरा ये भी है कि मैं समझता हूं कि इसमें इलेक्शन कमीशन को ये तय कर देना चाहिए कि अगर आप फ्री वीज दे रहे हैं तो आप पार्टी फंड से इसका प्रबंध कीजिए, पार्टी फंड से इसको दीजिए। टैक्स पेयर्स की गाड़ी इनकम, टैक्स पेयर्स की इनकम केवल कंट्री के डेवलपमेंट में लगनी चाहिए। इस तरह के इलेक्शन जीतने के हथियारों में, वीपन्स में नहीं यूज की जानी चाहिए। मैनिफेस्टो जब हम निकालते हैं तो चुनाव जीतने के लिए हम कुछ भी झूठे वादे करने से पीछे नहीं हटते। आपने देखा होगा कर्नाटक में या तेलंगाना में, मुझे याद है कभी जल्दी में किसी ने निकाला था कि अगर हम चुनाव, इंडिपेंडेंट कैंडिडेट निकाला था कि अगर हम चुनाव जीत गए तो चांद पे भी सबको एक एक बार जरूर ले जाएंगे और कार देंगे और न जाने क्या क्या देंगे। मतलब इस तरह की चीजों पे, आप रिडिकुलस चीजों पे। और ये हो सकता है कि कल को कोई ये कह दे साहब कि अगर हम जीतेंगे तो, आप कहा ही जा रहा है कि स्कूटी देंगे बच्चों को, और स्कूटी के साथ हो सकता है कि कल को कुछ और भी कहा जाए। तो इस पे जरूर चेक होना चाहिए। और इलेक्शन कमीशन को ये भी चाहिए कि जो पिछला मैनिफेस्टो आपने बनाया था, जिसके आधार पर चुनाव जीत के आप आए हैं पावर में, उस मैनिफेस्टो को आपने इम्प्लीमेंट किया या नहीं किया? अगर आपने नहीं किया तो फिर आपको आपको पनिशमेंट कायदे से होना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये माना जाना चाहिए कि आप केवल झूठ बोल के चुनाव जीतने के लिए पब्लिक को गुमराह कर रहे हैं, जो कम से कम एक डेमोक्रेसी के लिए बड़ा खतरनाक है। अब आपने एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ की बात की, कानून तो बहुत अच्छा बन गया, लेकिन अब आप देखिए एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ में आपको जितने डिफेक्शन चाहिए होते हैं, आप कहीं न कहीं से परचेज़ कर लेते हैं। कई गवर्नमेंट्स को आपने देख लिया। अब दूसरा तरीका ये हो गया है कि अगर मान लीजिए कल यूपी में कोई भी गवर्नमेंट अगर आती है और मिनिमम मेजॉरिटी वोट से 5-6 सीटें उसकी ज्यादा होती हैं, मान लीजिए 202 हमको रिक्वायर्ड है, अगर आइदर ऑफ द पार्टी कम्स इन पावर विद 205 और 206 सीट्स, तो कितना आसान होगा कि हम उसके 8 एमएलए को पैसा देके उससे रिजाइन करवा दें। एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ लागू नहीं होगा, रिजाइन करा दें और कह दें कि अब तो पेनल्टी मांगे। कुछ स्टेट्स में हुआ ऐसा है। या भजन लाल सरीखे कुछ मिल जाएंगे चीफ मिनिस्टर, जो पूरी अपनी कैबिनेट लेके और पूरे अपने सारे एमएलए लेके शिफ्ट हो जाएंगे। क्या करेगा ऐसे में एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ? तो इसमें ये जरूर होना चाहिए कि एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ में आपका मेंबरशिप तो जानी चाहिए और उसमें कुछ रेस्ट्रिक्शन भी होना चाहिए कि आप 1 साल, 2 साल या 3 साल के लिए आप चुनाव नहीं लड़ेंगे। यही यही बिल्कुल यही रूल्स लागू होना चाहिए। जो लोग दल बदल करते रहते हैं, क्या आपको टिकट हमने अपनी पार्टी से नहीं दिया, आपने दल बदल किया दूसरी पार्टी में, आज तक आप मिनिस्टर यहाँ थे, कल आपने पार्टी बदल ली। दल बदल के साथ भी कम से कम एक चुनाव का यानी 5 साल का राइडर जरूर होना चाहिए कि हम आपको उस पार्टी में आपको वेलकम करते हैं, आप जा सकते हैं, लेकिन अगले 5 साल तक आप उसमें चुनाव नहीं लड़ेंगे। तो ये निश्चित रूप से कहीं न कहीं ये लोगों के कैरेक्टर को बनाने में काफ़ी फ़ायदा देगी। इसके अलावा हम लोगों ने देखा शुरू में इवन कांग्रेस गवर्नमेंट में जब मिसेस गांधी पावर में थी तभी भी मुश्किल से 37% 38% टोटल वोट्स पड़ते थे। उसमें से अगर आप देखें तो 13% या 18% वोट पाके मिसेस गांधी हमेशा पावर में रहीं। आज भी स्थिति यही है कि बहुत रिकॉर्ड वोटिंग अगर हो गई तो 70% 60% हो गई। तो मेरा आज ये मानना है कि वोटिंग को कंपल्सरी बनाना चाहिए जब तक कि कोई इनएविटेबल ऐसा कॉज ना हो कि आपको लगे कि वोट देना आपके लिए असंभव है। आप बैलेट पेपर्स को और आसान कर दीजिए, पोस्टल बैलेट्स को किसी और टेक्निक इवॉल्व कीजिए जिससे कम से कम लोग मैक्सिमम लोग पार्टिसिपेशन कर सकें। डेमोक्रेसी है, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि 40% लोगों ने वोट दिया, उसमें से जिसको 20% मिल गया वो चुनाव जीत गया और वो फिर कहता साहब हम तो जनता की बात कह रहे हैं। या किसी चैनल के अंदाज में 4 आदमी की पार्टी कहे कि पूछता है भारत, तो वो भारत के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव नहीं हुए, तो केवल 20% लोगों के चुनाव जीतने पे चुनाव जीत के आए हैं वो, इस तरह से। और गवर्नमेंट मशीनरी का मिसयूज बिल्कुल बंद कर देना चाहिए। इलेक्शन के लिए गवर्नमेंट मशीनरी का मिसयूज, फिर हम कहेंगे ये टैक्स पेयर्स के पैसे का दुरुपयोग है। ये कोशिश करना चाहिए कि अगर आप एक पोस्ट होल्ड कर रहे हैं, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पोस्ट, चीफ मिनिस्टर हो सकते हैं, प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो सकते हैं, मंत्री हो सकते हैं, तो आप फिर पूरे सूबे के, पूरे स्टेट के, पूरे कंट्री के चीफ मिनिस्टर है या प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैं आप। तो जब आप प्राइम मिनिस्टर या चीफ मिनिस्टर की कैपेसिटी में कहीं भी भाषण देंगे तो पूरी पब्लिक के लिए, पब्लिक के बेनिफिट के लिए देंगे और उसमें राजनीति नहीं होनी चाहिए। ये भी कहा गया है कि चीफ मिनिस्टर या प्राइम मिनिस्टर या सेंट्रल मिनिस्टर्स या स्टेट मिनिस्टर्स पूरे प्रदेश के होते हैं, वो उनमें कोई ये ढूंढना पोजीशन को क्रिटिसाइज करेंगे, उसके लिए पार्टी को छोड़ना चाहिए। पार्टी आपकी जो चाहे, जिसको चाहे क्रिटिसाइज करे, अब्यूज करे, उसकी कमियां बताएं, लेकिन आप अगर मंत्री हैं तो आपको केवल और केवल पब्लिक के इंटरेस्ट में ही काम करना चाहिए। आपको आज के बारे में बात करनी चाहिए कि आज आप क्या करने जा रहे हैं, आप बताइए। हमें लगता है कि हमने आप लोगों का बहुत समय, थैंक यू सो मच। हम सुनना चाहेंगे और अच्छे लोगों
Okay.
को, विद्वान लोग बैठे हुए हैं, उनको
Thank you.
सुनेंगे और थोड़ा
Thank
सा ज्ञानवर्धन करेंगे।
Thank you very
थैंक
much.
यू सो मच।
Thank you very much, Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra, for giving your views. And I will just highlight one or two views which Justice have raised. First thing, in the last, although he has said that the chief minister or the ministers or the prime minister are not for a party, but they are for the country or the state. And they should speak about the country, not for the party. But Justice, I will remind you the yesterday's speech of our Honorable Prime Minister in the Parliament, when he attacked a particular party or two parties, and the reviews which are coming not only from India, from the internationally, that it was a very it's not a speech by a prime minister of a country like India. Secondly, the Justice Mehrotra has spoken about the how the criminals are there in this particular field, that is the elections, and they have become MLAs and MPs. He has also mentioned about the anti-defection laws, etc., etc. When I will come to the next round, definitely I am going to ask this question, because after all, he was in the judiciary and he was holding the post. But whether because he mentioned about the election commission, we all know today the election commission, although it's supposed to be the autonomous body, but we have seen how even a PA of the prime minister can call them and they are going there just wagging their tails. So one can very well imagine the condition of this election, how we expect the fair and fair elections, which is now going to held, because of the partiality, and which he says that irrespective of the parties, all parties misused it. Yes, we remember Dr. Session, how he was the person who has created the confidence in the electoral that some fair things is there, but alas, he cannot. No one can be immortal. One, and Justice Mehrotra rightly said, we require somebody like Dr. Session. Thank you very much, Justice Lochan Mehrotra, for giving your very, very outright, I will say the very forthright and very strong views about the electoral reforms. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Advocate K.C. Jain. Advocate K.C. Jain is a renowned social activist and a Supreme Court lawyer. He is practicing law for last 42 years on the civil side. He appeared in Supreme Court and Allahabad High Court in several important cases. He is active on various social platforms of the city of Agra. He filed several PILs in Supreme Court regarding the RTI Act, etc. Recently also, he filed a petition relating to road safety. His large number of articles were published in law journals. His articles were also published in many newspapers on various subjects, including environment, RTI, culture, etc. He has varied interest, especially in RTI and environment. Welcome, Advocate K.C. Jain, on our show. Advocate K.C. Jain, you have heard what Justice Mehrotra has mentioned. And he has mentioned all the points. He has touched almost all the points which today the election commission has to consider, and this electoral reform has to come. But alas, whether it's election commission or whether Honorable Supreme Court, forget about the parliament. They are not going to do, because they all are hamam ki mein sab nange hain wala mamla hai. But at least these two constitutional bodies, election commission and Supreme Court, should take forth and take the concern and take the action so that the confidence can come. But we would like to know now from you, your views on electoral reforms in India. Advocate K.C. Jain, please. Please unmute. Advocate Jain, please unmute.
Thank you, Mr. Lal Goyal, for inviting me and for giving me a wonderful opportunity to share my views with you and with your audience. As was said by Plato, one of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Often we think that we should not participate in politics. We should keep ourselves away from politics, and it is not our cup of tea. But no, as rightly remarked by Plato, if we don't participate in politics, ultimately we are going to be governed by the inferiors. Therefore, the need for us is to become an active participant in the politics, not by contesting or not by becoming an active member of a political party, but by actively watching the activities of all political parties, making our own judgments, making our own perception based on the facts and circumstances and based on their actions. Therefore, first of all, I must emphasize that we all must be vigilant and aware citizens. Now, coming to the point directly, the criminalization of politics. I would like to refer the recent judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court dated 10th of August 2021 in a contempt petition of Brajesh Singh versus Sunil Arora. What the Honorable Supreme Court remarked is worth consideration. I would like to read a few lines of the judgment as appearing in para 72 of the judgment. Now, I would like to have the permission to read it. This court time and again has appealed to the lawmakers of the country to rise to the occasion and take steps for bringing out necessary amendments so that the involvement of the persons with criminal antecedents in polity is prohibited. All these appeals have fallen on the deaf ears. What harsh word the Supreme Court would have used? All these appeals have fallen on the deaf ears. The political parties refuse to wake up from deep slumber. However, in view of the constitutional scheme of separation of powers, though we desire that something urgently requires to be done in the matter, our hands are tied and we cannot transgress into the area reserved for the legislative arm of the state. We can only appeal to the conscience of the lawmakers and hope that they will wake up soon and carry out a major surgery for weeding out the malignancy of criminalization in politics. I think no stronger words could have been employed and used by the Supreme Court than to express their agony in this manner. Now, it is for us to build a pressure on the government that they weed out this malignancy of criminalization in politics. The criminal people can do no justice. Criminal people can do no good for us, no good for the nation, no good for the community or the society. Therefore, the first electoral reform that needs to be emphasized is that the criminalization should end. Those who are facing charges in the court, who are undergoing trial, they should also be prohibited for contesting elections. How can we permit a person facing the trial for rape, for murder, for robbery, for dacoity, or for the heinous crime, that he should be permitted to contest election and to seek vote? How fair and free election can be that a criminal puts pressure upon you and you are not able to face it? Therefore, the best course is that all criminals should be kept away from the election scenario. They should be debarred, as has been suggested by the Honorable Supreme Court in its judgment. Now, coming to another point of funding of elections, at present, for an election of member of parliament, one is permitted to spend 95 lakh rupees. And for assembly election, the limit has been raised to rupees 40 lakhs. I ask a question to myself: how can I afford to spend 95 lakh rupees for contesting election as a member of parliament? No. For spending 40 lakhs for contesting election for becoming a member of the Legislative Assembly, I think no one would spend, unless he has a desire to earn 10 times of what he spends. Why we have such a bigger limits of permissible expenditure? I think if you take a case of an architect or an engineer or a doctor, they cannot publicize, they cannot put advertisement in newspapers, they cannot put a big hoarding, they cannot put a big board. Therefore, why a politician should be permitted to spend such a huge sum on elections? When money is to play a vital role in elections, then honest persons cannot come in the fray. They cannot contest elections. Therefore, my opinion is that this limit should be reduced. It should not be more than 1 lakh rupees. How I can expect Justice Malhotra to contest as member of parliament from Allahabad, from Prayagraj? because he won't have the money to spend 95 lakh rupees. He did not earn as a judge that way. Therefore, giving a level playing game field, you need to reduce this limit and should be a nominal amount of 1 lakh rupees or 50,000, so that money does not become the vital factor for elections, but your credibility, your publicity, your social connect, your work so far done for the society, that ultimately becomes the basis for your being elected as a popular leader, and not money. I fail to understand why this limit is being increased time and again. From the lower limit, it has been further enhanced. Does we want money to play greater role, greater game changer? No, that should never be. Therefore, my suggestion for this electoral reform is that the limit should be reduced, and it should be a nominal amount, not like that. And why should a person spend? That is a big question which everyone has to think for. Now, coming to the qualification of a candidate, we go for appointment, go for becoming a candidate for being appointed as a peon, as a clerk, as a judge, as a magistrate, or as any government employee. There is qualification prescribed, but we don't have any qualification for a politician, for becoming a member parliament, member legislative house or legislative assembly. Why are we expecting lawmakers that illiterate people can become lawmakers? They are basically the lawmakers. They have to pass the law. They have to make laws suitable to the people of the country, for the state, for the constituency. But you don't want the literate people to come. You say that popularity is the basis, not the education. But I say, can a popular person become a doctor if he has not done MBBS? If he has not done MS, can he do surgery? Can an illiterate person become a lawmaker without having a law degree, without having a proper background, social background, legal background? I think no. There should be a qualification prescribed. It is a high time that we should think for it, and this electoral reform should be brought in. Now, coming to the another electoral reform, which Justice Malhotra has also raised, about the compulsory voting. I would like to remind by quoting a few leaders that ballot is stronger than a bullet. It was said by Abraham Lincoln. Voting is not our right, it is our power. It was said by another leader. We can all agree on the importance of voting, Jana Bush. There is no such thing as a vote that does not matter. Every vote matters. Therefore, how can you enjoy the rights of being a citizen? How can you enjoy the rights, constitutional rights and fundamental rights, if you don't participate in the voting process? Give your choice. You don't have time to vote and say who should become your representative. If we see the global scenario, then we find that 13% countries have gone for compulsory voting and 85% have not gone. But now it is a time for India and for other countries of the world to think that compulsory voting is a must. Unless you suffer from some physical infirmity. For that also, the Election Commission has taken a very good initiative. Now the voting machine comes to your house if you are differently abled, or if you are older than 80 years. Then they come to your home and get the vote. They bring EVM to your home. Therefore, even the disabled or the old and fragile people have been given a right to vote. Then why should it not be compulsory? If you don't vote, don't expect any favor from the government. Ultimately, you should have a say, so that good people of your own choice, come forward and they vote for you. Therefore, this suggestion given by Justice Malhotra, I also endorse it. It should be another thing is method of voting, whether it should be online voting, whether the government has taken a very good initiative, the ruling party, that they are linking it with Aadhaar. I think it is a very good initiative to eliminate those whose name appears in many voter lists or in two voter lists. They will be eliminated. But we should make it further sure that fake voting is not at all take place. Cannot be connect the voting with the Aadhaar footprints. Then once we have a thumb impressions also being connected, then 100% surety of your being correctly voting. And then you can also permit online voting. Why not? Why you expect people should go when you can file your income tax return, when you can file your company return, when you can apply for passport, when you can do all the important and vital things? Then why you should not be permitted to vote online with of course security measures, like your thumb impression may be required to be taken. And then the online voting can be a good way to increase the percentage of voting or to effectuate the compulsory voting pattern. Now, coming to the role of media also, if we look at section 123 3A of the Representation of People's Act about corrupt practices, it is clearly mentioned that the promotion of or attempt to promote feeling of enmity or hatred between different classes of citizens of India on ground of religion, race, caste, community, or language by a candidate or his agent or any other person with the consent of candidate or his election commission is treated as a corrupt practice. But they cannot promote the feeling of enmity or hatred. Similarly, another provision of the Representation of People's Act is section 125, promoting enmity between classes in connection with the election. Any person, I may be permitted to read it, any person who in connection with an election under this act promotes or attempts to promote on ground of religion, race, caste, community, or language feeling of enmity or hatred, they cannot promote it. What do they talk about? If you go to the print media, if you go to the electronic media or the social media even, you find that people are talking about caste, that the number of people in this particular constituency are of this religion, this caste, they should contest. Why they are talking about the caste factor? Why they are talking about the religion? Every citizen is equal. But the media's role, by much talking, by analyzing the caste factor, the religion factor in a given constituency, ultimately tends to the politicians, the ruling, the government, and the political parties to think in those terms. You say that that a Muslim candidate is likely to win because the Muslims are more in this constituency. You say that Jats are more in this constituency, or you say the Vaishya are more in this constituency. All such talking about caste or religion by the media, whether electronic or whether print, that should be barred. And the Supreme Court must come and under section, keeping in view of the spirit of section 123, subsection 3A or section 125, it should be a bar. They should not be permitted to publish such reports to analyze the caste factor or religion factor. And now coming further to the media role, that the full page that the sponsored news, what does that show? You are publishing pre-election, of course, when elections are likely to be announced. The full page is sponsored news. The general reader think that it is a news item, not a sponsored news item. Not a news item. Therefore, this way of publication of the sponsored news, I think, should be discouraged, and there should be something to regulate, so that people are not misled by the full page or half page advertisement. And moreover, it is the public money. The government in power is spending money on a full page advertisement for its own so-called achievements. Why they should spend the money like that? It should not be permitted. Now, one nation, one election. That is a move taken by our Prime Minister Modi ji. I think that is a very good move. We should not be in election mode for all the for the entire year or for every time. Sometimes it is election of municipal corporation, sometimes it is election of legislative assembly, sometimes it is parliament, sometimes some other election. By reason of these elections being held time and again during every year, the government's focus on development work, the government's focus on administration, and the focus of the administrative officer, that all is lost. Therefore, this one nation, one election, that must definitely become a reality, so that we can see the governments to perform better. This is an electoral reform, need to be brought by the consensus of all concerned. The internal democracy of the political parties must be there. The election bonds are giving a wrong impression. You buy election bond, you give it to a political party. Political party is not to disclose from whom they have received. This is ultimately increasing the effect of money in politics. This election bonds must be examined, and I think they should be discontinued. There should be a cooling period for the IAS, IPS judges who join politics. We have seen that many police officers, senior police officers or administrators leaving their service today and joining the political party tomorrow. That gives an impression that they were working for a particular party even prior to their resigning their job. Therefore, there should be a cooling period, at least for 2 years or 3 years. They should not be permitted to become an active member or to permitted to contest an election after resigning. And that cooling period must be absorbed, must be observed and made the rule of the law. Actions, not the words. That is what Nelson Mandela has said. We need actions. We need change for the betterment of the masses, for the betterment of the underprivileged people, for the betterment of the poor who are suffering on account of the defects and malfunctioning of our democracy. Ultimately, the delivery is affected. Ultimately, the performance of the government is affected if we do not elect proper people who represent us, who raise our voice, and who make proper laws. Therefore, lawmakers, as I have said, should be literate, should have a sound and proven, honest track record. With these suggestions, I thank Mr. Lal again for inviting me and for sharing my views. There can be a bigger debate on so many other issues as well, but keeping in view of the time constraint, I think I should limit now and I should say thank you.
Thank you very much, Advocate. Thank you very much, Advocate Jain, for giving your views. And Advocate Jain has touched almost all the reforms which the country requires. That is about the criminals he mentioned, about the heinous crimes. Then he says the limit of the expenses of, he wants 1 lakh limit. He also mentioned why a person can not become a doctor if he is not qualified, although he mentioned that how without MS or MBBS one can perform the surgery. But I would like to inform Advocate Jain, today if you are a homeopathy doctor, you can do the cataract surgery, which is allowed by Ayush, and our judiciary has not closed their eyes. This is very, very, very unfortunate. How a homeopathic doctor can do the surgery, I think it's a matter of to be considered in our one of the media conference. Then Advocate Jain has also mentioned that everyone should vote, which our Justice Mehrotra has also said. He also mentioned about online vote. The problem with the online vote, Advocate Jain, is because I have interacted with one of the bureaucrat who mooted the idea. But the problem comes if the online votes are started, like we are transferring the money, OTP will come and we can do the vote sitting at home. Then in India, those who knows that this particular community is going to vote against particular party, those parties, Bahubali, will reach in the early morning, sit there, take their phones, ask them, and would do the voting there only and come back. So this is the crisis. This is a problem here, because we are basically you can say behaviorally correct people, and we are using all those means. That's why otherwise this is the best thing, that if you are sitting at home, you do not want to go, you can vote from here. But think of that unprivileged people, or those who are of that particular community, where they can go, those dabang people can go and manipulate the votes. That is why this online voting is still not been implemented in India. Advocate Jain mentioned about the role of media, and he says the media is doing this, caste, etc. I can ask Advocate Jain, whenever one of the chief minister mentioned about 80-20, what he means, why the media will not ask the question, what do you mean by 80 and 20? Either 80 are qualified in country and 20 are unqualified, or 80 are rich, 20 are poor, or the same thing which everybody knows that 80 are Hindus and 20 are Muslims. Is it? So basically, to shoot the messenger, it is better to shoot the person who is organizing this, not the media. Media's role is to bring out the views. Like today, you are giving your views, the media is making it. But tomorrow, yes, you're right, there are certain medias which we termed as a Godi media. For them, they are creating that havoc in the country, which everybody knows. He also mentioned about one nation, one election. That is a very, very good idea. Rather, I would like to inform Advocate Jain, this one nation, one ration card suggestion came on this media conference only, and which was accepted by the government of India. So we are very proud that many suggestions of our media conference has been accepted. But the practical problem in one nation, one election is, today, the parliament and state elections, if they take place together, tomorrow, due to some reason, one of the state has gone for the midterm poll. So then the problem comes. So there are some practical problems, but it can be sorted out if some more mind of application of mind can be done. Then he mentioned about election bonds. Yes, that is, again, I will not say that the fault lies with the judiciary, not with anyone else. If judiciary fails to deliver the proper judgment, we can't say, although our honorable justice is sitting and you are also a legal luminary, but we all know that how the judges failed. Now recently, we have started keeping faith in the judiciary, but of what has earlier happened. And you have also mentioned about the cooling period for service classes. We all know the 3 judgments, recent judgments, and after that, the Chief Justice became the Rajya Sabha member. So when we know all these things, that is a very, very good point. Anyone who is in the government service, of irrespective of post, whether he's an inspector or a judge or a IAS or IPS, anyone, they should not be allowed at least for 3 years to join any government position. Even after the retirement, they are being appointed. We know that judiciary, the chief justices are appointed for the commissions and whatnot. That is also a very lucrative thing. So thank you very much, Advocate Jain, for giving your views. I'm sure your views are very, very valuable, and these are going to the Election Commission and others, if they accept. But the only thing, as you said, only words, implementation is required. Whether we will be able to do it or not, that's we have to see. Thank you very much, Advocate Jain. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Dr. Naveen Gupta. Dr. Naveen Gupta is the director of Hindustan Institute of Management and Computer Studies, HIMCS, Sharda Group of Institutions, Mathura. Dr. Naveen Gupta is a leading behavioral scientist, trainer, management consultant, and therapist. He studied at the IIT Roorkee and has 34 years plus years of academic experience in teaching and research. He has visited a number of countries like USA, China, Hong Kong, Dubai, Oman, Sharjah, Nepal, Macau, Sri Lanka, etc. for training and academic assignments. He has worked as the top academic and administrative leaders, including as director of several business schools and as a director general with Advent Institute of Management, Udaipur, Rajasthan. He is also a founder of Soldiers of Society, SOS, in Agra and Mathura for making difference to the life and livelihood of the auto worker and other poor sections, and enhances the experiences and memories of the national and international tourists to the city of Taj. Welcome, Dr. Naveen Gupta on our show.
Thank you.
Dr. Naveen Gupta, you have heard the Justice Mehrotra as well as Advocate Jain, and both have given their views, very, very strong views and very realistic views, except that how to implement a few amendments are required, but the views which is not only their views, I must say this is the views which even the lay person or the public also wants, that these types of things to be changed. But political will, we all know whether whichever party, no party would like to do this because they know that tomorrow their hands will be tied. We would like to know your views on the very, very important topic of electoral reforms in India. Dr. Naveen Gupta, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lal Goel. And I wish to congratulate you for selecting a very, very important theme, because elections are around the corner and we have the election tomorrow here in Agra. I belong to Agra this time. So very, very serious issue. And I heard Justice Malhotra, I heard K.C. Jain sir, and you also. I think somewhere, somehow we are all responsible for this situation, whatever we are. As you told, we are behaviorally corrupt. Very, very, no, we have to go for the deep diagnosis. Why this situation? Though I feel proud that I am in a democratic country, which I could realize when I was in Dubai in 2005 and 2006. Before that, I never gave importance to the democracy. I could understand. So I feel proud of Indian democracy. Change, of course, is going on. Aisa bhi nahi ki all things are bad. Things have changed also. But here, I would like to quote the very, very important words of Baba Ambedkar, who said, संविधान चाहे कितना भी अच्छा हो, वो बुरा साबित हो सकता है अगर उसको लागू करने वाले लोग सही नहीं. There are a few facts which I would like to quote here. And since I'm from academics, I will just talk about the whatever role we can play as an academician. If you look at the Corruption Perception Index, which was recently published, we are slightly better. In 1913, we were at the rank of 36, but now in 2021, we are 40. Though we got freedom with the same time, Pakistan and India, if you look, Pakistan has gone down more, 28. Though we have no competition with the Pakistan, we have competition with the Denmark. Denmark, who has got 100%. The corruption level is too low. Why corruption? Who the people, कौन-कौन लोग इसमें involved हैं? I consider, अब Justice Malhotra साहब ने बहुत important एक valid point बताया है. If you look at the newspaper, as we have elections in UP, तो पूरा का पूरा जो newspaper को आप देखेंगे, we have division based on the caste or religion. Why it is so? So I could understand ki what are the main agenda, main problems of the citizens are ignored totally, because वो बहुत easy route लगा ruling party को भी, opposition को भी. Don't talk about the development and growth. Talk लोगों को पहचाना, anthropologically study किया उन्होंने. They are more smarter than us, and that's why they are there. तो तीन मुझे लगता है 3P are big problem of this country. First, I would like to address the pollution. No political party talks about the pollution. We are not able to give a fresh water, clean air, and no political party, rather through the rally, through the bad words, bad mouthing, they are creating more pollution. They are responsible. Poverty is still, we are known as a poor country. Why? After we are celebrating 75 years of the freedom, but still we are in a developing phase. कब एक बच्ची ने कलाम साहब ने पूछा बच्ची से, what do you want to see? What is your dream? I want to see myself in a developed country, not in a developing country. Who is responsible? We need a deep diagnosis. Politics, pollution, poverty, bad politicians are really, but they are among us. What we are, because what we deserve. If you look at the criminal record, Justice Malhotra has already spoken, but would like to share a recent report of the Association of the Democratic Reforms. 25% are criminals. And the trend is increasing. That is the most unfortunate part. Here we need to really address what are the problems. Mr. Lal has already mentioned, अभी भी देश के अंदर क्या चल रहा है? Anthropologically, we need to study psycho-fancy culture, feudal mentality. One party I would not like to name. What about Mrs. Indira Gandhi? Anyone from that family is respected. I don't want to be biased. But why? कोई भी हो, किसी को भी लाओ, but no one except family member. Same in UP also, which is very dominating party. Only the family and the particular caste is promoted. ये क्यों? ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? इसको थोड़ा सा हमें देखने की जरूरत है. Justice Malhotra, KC Jain Sahab has already mentioned the kind of language which we are using. Communication, and I remember the words of that words can change the world, but who will teach them? To our great politician. We talk, a management professor, we talk about the role of communication. But इनको कौन पढ़ाएगा? किस तरह के शब्दों का इस्तेमाल? लाल साहब has already mentioned. मैं तेरे को गर्मी दिला दूंगा, मैं तेरे को नानी याद दिला दूंगा. What kind of sentence, words we are using? When Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Mr. Mulayam Azad, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, when they used to speak, जब इनके भाषण आते थे, तब ये क्या करते थे? They add on value in our sociology, economics. I still remember the words of the Lal Bahadur Shastri, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. When there is a fight against China, एक वक्त का अनाज, आज कितने politician में इतना दम है इनकी बात को? दो, our prime minister is trying to follow. Vocal for local and all these things. He's trying his best, but is still not perceived as a statement. ये किस issue है? किस तरह के speeches का use हो रहा है? After independence, I appreciate there are something good also. Irrespective of any politically, I don't want to be biased. After independence, it was a great challenge. Okay, Pakistan chose that we want to be an Islamic country. Nothing wrong. They are clear in their agenda. But we decided we want to be secular. It was the role of communication only, perhaps Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and so many other great leaders. तो वो पूरा का पूरा इंडिया के अंदर in a different community, different culture, different language, उसमें एक religion के एजेंडे को नहीं बल्कि secular country को इसको एस्टेब्लिश करने में देयर वाज अ great role. So it is a great achievement. But now what we are doing, because वो सॉफ्ट लगा, हमने पूरा का पूरा जो है चीजों को बांटना शुरू कर दिया, रिलीजन, लैंग्वेज, ये सब कैसे। लुक एट दी, अभी क्या हो रहा है, I don't want to, because I can be, I may invite a lot of risk also, but now you see at the top also कि पूरा का पूरा जो role of education, maybe through AICT, UGC, वो पूरा का पूरा क्या, what are the priorities of the education now? Our students are doing good, nothing wrong with that. Now the best example, कितना intolerance, bully by app. Who are they? They are the students of IT and MBA. क्यों ऐसा, कितना नफरत, पर वो नफरत आई कहां से? Who are responsible? We cannot blame all the time to the politicians. और ये भी नहीं कह सकते कि अगर पॉलिटिशियन ठीक हो जाए, जुडिशरी ठीक हो जाए, मीडिया ठीक हो जाए, ब्यूरोक्रेट ठीक हो जाए, सब कुछ ठीक हो जाए. I feel we need to set the standard agenda of the education. तो ये बुली बाई ऐप is the outcome of what? कहां से आ रहा है, इन बच्चों में कहां से आया वो जहर? Second, recently we can see ये कर्नाटका का जो एपिसोड है, हिजाब वर्सेस भगवा. Who is responsible? What are our priorities? They want employment. They don't want भगवा और हिजाब. उसकी जरूरत नहीं है, इनको एम्प्लॉयमेंट चाहिए. इन बच्चों को डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड की हम बात करते हैं. वी फील प्राउड दैट वी हैव द लार्जेस्ट आर्मी ऑफ द यूथ इन इंडिया. बट इफ वी आर नॉट रेस्पॉन्सिबल एज ए जुडिशियल मजिस्ट्रेट, एज ए टीचर, एज ए मीडिया, एज ए पॉलिटिशियन, तो ये जो हमारा जो डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड है, ये एक हमारी लायबिलिटी बन जाएगी, जो कि आज की तारीख में एक एसेट है. तो वो जो प्रॉब्लम है, वो कौन जिम्मेदारी लेगा? सबसे बड़ा तो प्रॉब्लम क्या हो गया कि वैक्यूम ऑफ लीडरशिप. रोल मॉडल का इतना जबरदस्त वैक्यूम हो गया है कि किसको उनके आफ्टर एपीजे कलाम साहब, डू आई हैव एनी एग्जाम्पल? I want to be like him. These are the real serious issue. तो वो I was going through a interview of TV में देख रहा था जैकी श्रॉफ का. He has given a very good example. तो उसका बेस तो ये था कि don't create walls. तो जैकी श्रॉफ was just narrating कि हमारा एक छोटा सा घर था, है ना, which we can see. डेमोक्रेसी को भी हम देखें, हमारा पहले एक छोटा सा था, अब ग्रोथ हो रही तो किस साइड में हो रही. हमारा छोटा सा घर था, मुझे खांसी आती थी तो मेरी माँ आके मुझे कफ सिरप दे आती थी. फिर हमने घर बड़ा बना लिया, घर बड़ा करा दिया, माँ का दूसरा हमने कमरा दे दिया. और किसी दिन वो जो है, एक दिन पता भी नहीं चला, खूब खांसी होगी, खूब में मुझे पता भी नहीं चला, तो वो उसकी डेथ हो गई. तो ही वाज जस्ट बड़ा इमोशनल उसकी बात कर रहा था. बट आई कुड अंडरस्टैंड कि डोंट क्रिएट वॉल्स. If we are trying to create the walls, we have to pay very, very heavy price. Now what can be done? करा क्या जाए? समस्या ये नहीं है, समस्या ये नहीं है कि मैं ये बताऊं वो खराब है. मैंने कहा I believe always in a Chinese proverb, don't cry for darkness, light a lamp, if possible at your end. तो अब करा क्या जाए? So we need to understand, we need to learn from the experiment of the Singapore. तो सिंगापुर के जो प्रेसिडेंट ने जो काम किया था, ली, that was really wonderful. As Mr. Jain has already mentioned, that this society is bad because of the inaction of the good people. Because हम लोग, मल्होत्रा साहब जैसे लोग, वो नहीं आ पा रहे, मे बी बिकॉज ऑफ द लैक ऑफ मनी, वट एवर मे बी, और फिर डर जाते हैं हम, है ना. मुझे भी कई बार पॉलिटिक्स में आने के लिए ऑफर मिला, पर मैंने कहा यार नहीं, मैं कहाँ कर पाऊंगा, है ना, मैं कहाँ कर पाऊंगा, देख के कि कितना पैसा कितना गुंडाइज्म, हर तरह की पॉलिटिक्स, हर तरह की यू नीड टू कंप्रोमाइज। मैंने कहा आई कैन नॉट बी इन पॉलिटिक्स, दिस इज नॉट अ कप ऑफ टी फॉर मी। तो सिंगापुर का जो एक्सपेरिमेंट था, उसने क्या करा कि इंटेलेक्चुअल्स लाइक मिस्टर केसी जैन सर, लाइक मिस्टर राजीव लोचन सर, इनको हाउ वी कैन ब्रिंग देम, बिकॉज वी हैव सीन थ्रू देयर वर्ड्स दे हैव गुड इंटेंशन, दे हैव पावर ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन एंड दे हैव बीन मेन ऑफ इंटीग्रिटी। इन लोगों को हम कैसे पॉलिटिक्स में लाएं, दैट शुड बी आवर एजेंडा। वो एक हमें सिंगापुर वाले एक्सपेरिमेंट से सीखना ही होगा। वाई ये जो है, आप सिंपल सी बात पूछे, आई एम फ्रॉम एकेडमिक्स, Jain sir is also from Agra, and Malhotra Sahab has been the district judge of this city. We have been honored. Now you look, कई सारे लोग without naming, नाम मैं नहीं लूंगा, they have been teaching. सिंपल सा सवाल मेरे को एक बार ये उठता है कि जाके इनका रिकॉर्ड चेक करो, हाउ मेनी टाइम्स यू हैव टेकन द क्लास। 1, 2, हम में से सबको पता है, वी आर सो अनफॉर्चुनेट, आगरा यूनिवर्सिटी का क्या हाल है, and they are the professor of Agra University. If you cannot change, reform the university, local university, what can I expect from you? And you are the MP. तो क्या आप देश बदल सकते हैं क्या? उनको सिर्फ हमने एक यहाँ पर थोड़ा शुरुआत किया था, which was not very successful. We could learn. So please tell me when I have to stop.
I think, Dr. Gupta, we will take you in the next round. So Dr. Gupta, thank you very much. Dr. Gupta has made very, very important points about the corruption index. He said the government has this, our country has improved in the corruption index. But pollution, he said about the 3 Ps, being a from the management side, he always talk in the technical word. He says the 3 Ps, pollution, poverty, and politicians. He considered all the 3, we failed. He mentioned about Mrs. Indira Gandhi, why only Gandhi family, and we have seen yesterday also in Mathura, Priyanka Gandhi was there. But I have always a reservation, when a doctor's son can become a doctor, a professor's son can become a professor, when justice son can become a justice. We have seen in Supreme Court also and many high courts, why a politician son or daughter cannot become a politician. This is also we have to consider. Then he mentioned about the risk. Yes, this is a phenomena which everybody is having today. If you will speak something, it's a risky thing that tomorrow some gundas will come at your home and they will threaten you, or there will be a raid of ED or IT and others. He mentioned about bully buy. Although I differ from Dr. Gupta with due respect to him, bully buy, those who has been arrested, they are the front persons. They have no views. Somebody paid them money to do this thing. Those are front persons. And that's why if you see the Delhi police was keeping mum, when the other state police started taking action, immediately Delhi police has to catch hold of the kingpin. Otherwise the kingpin would have given the names. Everybody knows, even judiciary knows, but everybody has to keep mum. Risk is there. And he mentioned about the speech of great person. I still remember when we are very, very small, whenever Dr. Radhakrishnan, the then president of India, speaks, my father used to put the transistor at that time, the transistor, many times the light used not to be there in Mathura. So the transistor, and we were listening, and he says, please listen to him, learn something because of his English, perfect English, the words he used to choose. Today, we are seeing what type of words we are used in parliament. Then he mentioned about the hijab. Again, I will say, who has distributed the saffron clothes? Everybody knows. So basically, to blame the children or the student is totally wrong. I agree with Dr. Gupta. It's not. They want employment. They want to do something big. But these politicians, they are doing it. I still remember when my children were very small, the parliament has started showing a live telecast. And one day they were abusing each other at that early, it's about, I think 20 years or back or 30 years back. At that time, my children says, who are they? They are fighting like dogs. Now what, you can imagine a father's position that if somebody is telling the leaders as a comparing dog, a child, what mentality the child will have, respect will have for the politician. And he mentioned about the Singapore model. Yes, we require that type of things when we require the intellectuals to come forward, for which what Advocate Jain mentioned, one very, very good point is limit the upper limit of 1 lakh rupees. Otherwise, no one will be able to come. Thank you very much, Dr. Gupta. Now, I'm going to ask some simple questions for you, difficult for me. Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra, although I know it's very, very embarrassing for me to ask a question to justice, although always the justice used to ask the question, but as a media person, I have to ask. So Justice Mehrotra, just unmute yourself, please. My first question to you, you have mentioned, everybody is mentioning about the criminals. My question to you is, when any charges are framed against, or a FIR is filed against any bureaucrat, anyone who is in service, or even he's not, if against a student, and if he has to apply for selection of judge or IAS, is he allowed?
Definitely not.
Now my second question. My second question. Yeah.
Okay.
Now the complete, now supplementary question is, if not, then why these people are being allowed to fight, as Advocate Jain says, murder charges, rape charges? Can we not distinguish? Yes, we understand that they are please politically motivated. Politically motivated, yes, can be of some unauthorized one, you have broken 144 or like that. But rape cannot be politically motivated. Murder cannot be politically motivated. Heinous crimes, except sedition. Sedition, I will not come under the heinous kind, because it's a politically motivated. We are saying the sedition only against the opposition parties, not the ruling party. Is it not possible to do it? And in case if the parliament or the executive is not doing, why the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, cannot do it, come out and pass a stricture or the law that this has to be done? But not in that way, the law has to be prepared by the parliament. We are helpless. I'm sure the present CGI and the present Supreme Court judges are taking task very, very seriously. What are your views about this, Justice?
Brother, I have some reservations in this respect, because you still know, we know the percentage of conviction in our country. We know the rate of false implication in the crimes also. Suppose a murder takes place, then one may also include our names with the names of the culprits. If I'm in a politics, then it is very much, then it is, the chances are very much fair that I may be included in case I'm going to fight a case against someone. So simply coming the name in the FIR or framing of the charges should not bar, to me at least, for contesting the elections. Otherwise, what will happen? The ruling party will lose its entire force, entire investigating agency to implicate some of its main opponents in certain criminal cases. Then after, charges will definitely be framed, because the investigation agency will record the statement of witnesses as per their choice. They will depose. You know that the statement of except are being written without even the examination of the witnesses.
Justice, okay, you are making point, but don't we make a separate courts for these type of politicians who are going to fight the elections, to a fast track court within 3 months or 2 months or 1 month, at least the framing of charges to be proved whether it is correct or not?
Brother, exactly, you are correct. But you know that आज स्थिति क्या कोर्ट्स की है? We have to see, या हमको आज भी ये देखना पड़ता है कि पूरी तरह से हमको बेस करना पड़ता है टुवर्ड्स द गवर्नमेंट एजेंसीज ओनली फॉर समनिंग के लिए, हाउ टू समन अ पर्सन, हाउ टू मेक सर्विस ऑफिस समन अ वारंट ऑन अ पर्सन, कैसे विटनेसेस को बुलाएंगे. कोर्ट्स में हमने देखा है कि विटनेस को बुलाने के लिए कितना परेशानी होती है. कभी वो आईओ कहेगा साहब आज तो इलेक्शन ड्यूटी में है, कभी वो कहेगा साहब चीफ मिनिस्टर का दौरा है, तो वी आर अनएबल टू रीच. तो इस तरह से ये 3 महीने में देखिए अगर हमारे हाथ में हो तो वी कैन डू।
जी
बहुत पहले गवर्नमेंट ने कहा था कि इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग एजेंसी और अरेस्टिंग एजेंसी अलग-अलग होनी चाहिए, लॉ कमीशन ने रिकमेंड किया था, लेकिन आज तक इसका इम्प्लीमेंट इसको नहीं किया गया है। आज भी जो अरेस्टिंग एजेंसी है, वही इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसी है और इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर को ढूँढने में बहुत परेशानी होती है।
जी थैंक
तो
यू जस्टिस
जी।
मेहरोत्रा फॉर गिविंग योर क्लियर व्यूज।
वही एक चीज़ और हम कहना चाहेंगे
जी
क्योंकि उसके बाद 12 बजे के आसपास हम निकलेंगे साहब।
नहीं
जस्टिस जैन
11:55 वी आर क्लोजिंग इट
अच्छा
नाउ मैं
अब ने एक बस जस्ट वन मोर सेशन विद योर
हाँ
परमिशन। जस्टिस जैन साहब ने जो कहा था किसी जैन साहब ने वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन, इट इज रियली वेरी गुड आइडिया, क्योंकि हमको लगता है कि देखिए एक चीज और रिफॉर्म होना चाहिए इसमें। आपने देखा होगा डिफरेंट असेंबली इलेक्शंस में सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के मिनिस्टर्स भी आके असेंबली इलेक्शन कंटेस्ट करते हैं और हारने के बाद फिर दोबारा मिनिस्टर रहते हैं। तो दे शुड रिजाइन फर्स्ट फ्रॉम द मेंबरशिप ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट and only then they be permitted to contest the election of the assembly.
yes
Thank you so much.
that is very good idea. Justice Malhotra, be there. I will be coming back to you again with more question. Now my question
Thank you.
goes to Advocate Jain. Advocate Jain, we are talking about election manifesto. What is this election manifesto? We will do this, we will bring the moon, as Justice Mehrotra mentioned about that somebody will take you to the moon, etc. Why not, once you are submitting an election manifesto, like in the corporates, companies, whatsoever you are disclosing or whatsoever projections, you have to stick to it. Otherwise, SEBI will take action against you. Why not in this particular thing, especially for the our this thing? Why not the election commission make a point when once you submit the election manifesto to the election commission, once they vet it, that will be a gospel truth. And tomorrow, if anybody deviate, if you come to the power and if you are not implementing those things, then that particular party should be debarred from the next election. What you say about this, Advocate Jain?
I fully agree with you, Mr. Lal. Manifesto should be legally enforceable document, and it is a commitment and a binding for a political party. It is not a wish list, because ultimately you are seeking the mandate on the basis of your manifesto, and which you don't abide by. This is something like cheating. If I give you an assurance, if I give you a commitment, I must fulfill it. But if you go to the Representation of People's Act, I doubt that there is any provision which gives sanctity to a manifesto. That there being no legal or statutory provision in the rule book, the parties escape the consequences.
No, but Advocate Jain, there is a word called lucre. You are luring somebody, and it is against the law. If you cannot lure to somebody to the vote, I think the manifesto is nothing but luring. Those classes, okay, educated class, as understand now, they feel that this is nothing but fooling the people. But we have a diverse country. We have so many people who are under not educated, so they are being lured. This is cheating and fraud with that.
Sir, cheating is a very soft word. It should be termed as fraud. It
Yes.
is a big fraud.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank
I
you.
agree with Justice Malhotra.
Thank you very much, Advocate Jain. Now my question goes to Mr. Naveen Gupta. Mr. Naveen Gupta, why we require, suppose you want to fight election from Agra, you have done some work, that's why you are fighting election. Why Honorable Prime Minister or Priyanka Gandhi or Akhilesh Yadav or Jayant Chaudhary or Mayawati should come vote for you, asking vote for you? What for? They might not be even knowing you by name before that. So why not we ban all the political rallies and road shows by any of the national level or state level Prime Minister or the Chief Minister, because like Justice Mehrotra as well as Advocate Jain mentioned about the expenditure. You might be knowing that the expenditure of Prime Minister is exempted, and all those expenses they are booking in the political party, and political parties are above everyone. So independent cannot fight against a political nominee because independent has limited 40 lakhs, but there is no limit for a political party to spend money. I'm sure you might be knowing, Advocate Jain and Justice Mehrotra. So when there is no limit, they are spending and they are booking that expenditure in the thing. Like if Priyanka Gandhi has come to yesterday to Mathura, all the expenses of her coming by helicopter, etc., is not booked for Mr. Pradeep Mathur, or our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister is going, or Yogi Adityanath is going. All are there. Why not block them and do on television discussions like US presidentship? We always enjoy, even in India we are enjoying. Let our Prime Minister, let the Mr. Kejriwal, let Rahul Gandhi, let whosoever are the political parties sit, have the discussion, let the public will decide. What is your view about that?
So very, you have already, I mean, you have questioned and you have answered also. So I think I have no words to speak. But you rightly said, what can I do? What can I do? I'm too much interested in social politics, not the active politics. And we keep on doing along with Sri Jain sir, है ना? उनके साथ मिलके कुछ ना कुछ करते रहते हैं. Recently, what I'm doing now, what is my role as a teacher? जब से इलेक्शन अनाउंस हुआ, आई एम टेलिंग यू वेरी ऑनेस्टली, है ना, आपके सामने, मैं जाता हूं अपने ऑटो ड्राइवर्स को एवरी फ्राइडे, उनको यही बताता हूं कि जब लोग तोड़ने का काम कर रहे हैं तो कोई जो जोड़ने वाले लोग हैं, जोड़ने का काम तो करो ना. वो भी काम नहीं करेंगे तो फिर कैसे काम चलेगा? वो उनका काम है, दैट इज देयर रोल. दे विल, वो तोड़ेंगे आपको, रिलीजन के बेस पे तोड़ेंगे. व्हेन वी आर इन वन रिलीजन तो फिर वो कास्ट के बेसिस पे तोड़ेंगे. कोई ना कहीं डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, दे विल क्रिएट वॉल्स.
Okay.
And let us create the bridge.
Okay, so Dr. Gupta, you agree that that these type of rallies and road shows should be banned, and no one should be. Okay, thank you very much. Now my question goes to.
I would add one thing here.
Yeah.
That these rallies and these processions cause great inconvenience to the city people. Why we should permit these victory processions, these rallies at the cost of the inconvenience, at the cost of the inconvenience of the people living there?
And pollution also.
Correct. Now my question goes to Justice Mehrotra. Justice Mehrotra, misuse of central agencies. We are seeing that the raids are taking place of the opposition parties, and I am privy to many of the raids conducted at the previous election in Karnataka, and they were saying that the top bureaucrats are saying we are helpless. We have clear-cut instructions to raid against the opposition leaders. Is no judicial interference? Judiciary cannot stop these type of misuse of central agencies. Can't we change, or can't we bring at least 6 months or 3 months prior all these central agencies under the purview of Election Commission? Justice Mehrotra?
It is a very complex question, very big question. Exactly, I will start it from the point of the elevation of even judges. Whichever party comes in power, it selects its own judges. Then after, the central agencies, as you know better, after retirement, everyone wants another lucrative post, maybe bureaucrat, maybe judges. All these agencies on paper, they are all independent. But since 1967, they are all working under the influence of the government. So the corruption has entered into our blood.
Okay.
It needs a drastic change, drastic revolution.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will continue as it is.
Okay. Thank you, Justice Mehrotra. Now my question goes to Advocate Jain. Election bond. It should, as you mentioned, it should be banned. And we have seen how much money has been collected by the ruling party, and whosoever ruling party, people will go and pay. They have to pay. They are forced to pay, whether they are Ambani, Adani, or Tatas. They cannot escape. Why not? Why the Honorable Supreme Court was mum, or because of that lucrative post of Rajya Sabha? Advocate Jain?
I think the matter is still pending consideration of the Supreme Court. But I would like to add one thing, that why not the names and the entities be disclosed by the political parties who receive the donation by these political bonds? There should be a requirement that they should disclose.
But
disclosure
Advocate Jain,
must come.
but Advocate Jain, even if they disclose, suppose Adani says, I have paid 10,000 crore, what difference it makes? You cannot say why you have paid. He paid, I like the this party. Or Ambani says, I have paid to the other party this much. What difference?
I think the corporates should not be permitted to pay, because ultimately the shareholders' money, and shareholders' money should not be wasted for acquiring the favors
Okay.
of the politicians.
Okay.
And there, the basic fallacy is that without the shareholders' consent, if the board of directors so decides, they pay money to the political parties. The transparency in the functioning of the political parties is a must as a process of the electoral reforms.
Oh,
Unless they become transparent, we can't expect from
Okay,
them.
okay. Thank you very much. Now my question, last question to Dr. Naveen Gupta, very short answer. At least 1 year before the elections, no inaugurations, no Bhumi Pujan. This is a drama. At one time, you are doing 48 or 58 or 72 Bhumi Pujans and inauguration. What you have done in 4 years? Why not ban 1 year before? 4 years you can do whatsoever you want to do. Show some performance. Dr. Gupta, please.
You're very right, sir. There was a saying in early times, but we have changed as a professor of management. The action speaks louder than the words. अभी क्या कर दिया हमने, इतना मार्केटिंग पढ़ा के, एडवर्टाइजमेंट पढ़ा के ये कर दिया कि नो डोंट टॉक अबाउट द एक्शन, वर्ड्स स्पीक लाउडर देन द एक्शन. वो फिलॉसफी सबने अडॉप्ट कर ली है.
जी.
But not correct, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Gupta. Time, paucity of time. Thank you very much. You have made a point. You are agree. So viewers, you have seen today, all the three experts have suggested very, very good electoral reforms. But irrespective of political party and these of politicians, are they interested? No, because they know that tomorrow, if today they are in opposition, tomorrow they will be in the power, their hands will be tied up, which they don't want. Everyone wants to enjoy the power, the money, corrupt money, I can say, and all those things. Why? After all, we, the civil society, the responsibility lies with us, not with this politician. If we decide to vote to a correct person, to a correct political party, then only the change will come. Otherwise, we will have such type of media conference every year, and then Advocate Jain and others will blame the media. What we can do, we have to show the things what is there. पहले कहते थे साहित्य ही समाज का दर्पण होता है, अब मीडिया ही समाज का दर्पण है. जो आप लोग करते हो वही मीडिया दिखा सकता है और कुछ नहीं कर सकता. Thank you very much, and today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Karu News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, Newsgaon se Samvad Sarokan News, Bharat Post News, Gyan, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And we are to bring to you every day new topic in Media Conference with Lal Goyal. Tomorrow, the Media Conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. The topic is Motherhood, the Greatest Gift. And our panelists are Dr. Rajiv Anand, Senior Psychiatrist and Marriage Counselor, Mumbai, CA Vibha Jain, Chartered Accountant, Mumbai, Dr. Manisha A. Jain, Assistant Professor, Indira Gandhi Institute of Development Research, Mumbai, and Dr. Neha Mohan, Vitro, Retina, and Uvea Specialist, New Delhi. So please tune in tomorrow for Media Conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Justice Mehrotra. Thank you very much, Advocate Jain, and thank you very much, Dr. Naveen Gupta, for giving very, very enlightening and very perfect and real suggestions. I hope that somebody will listen and do something, which I know that the percentage of death is very, very low. But anyway, and thank you all the viewers. Please be aware. Please take proper action. And when we are going to vote, choose a right candidate. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.